Did you know the average Australian is losing over $5,000 a year to hidden costs without even realizing it? That's not a typo. $5,000. And no, it's not just taxes from the ATO. We're talking about a silent financial thief that sneaks into your life through your rent, groceries, subscriptions, and even your so-called loyalty rewards. It's like you're being taxed without anyone calling it a tax. Sounds crazy, right? But it's very real, and it's happening to you every single day. From sneaky supermarket tricks to financial traps built into our everyday choices, this hidden system is draining your wallet while you go about your life completely unaware. So if you've ever looked at your bank account and thought, where the hell did all my money go? This video is going to open your eyes. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Stick around, we're just getting started. Number 10, the mental health toll of financial stress. You might not see it on a receipt, but the emotional cost of financial pressure is one of the most damaging hidden taxes Australians pay every day. Think about it. When money is tight, your mind never really rests. You're lying awake at night, mentally juggling bills, wondering how to stretch your paycheck just a few more days. This kind of stress isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. According to Beyond Blue, nearly 1 in 3 Australians say that money stress affects their mental health, leading to anxiety, depression, sleep problems, and even strained relationships. And here's the worst part, this stress can create a vicious cycle. When you're mentally exhausted, your ability to make good financial decisions plummets. You start avoiding bills, ignoring budgets, maybe even turning to quick fix solutions like buy now, pay later or payday loans, which only dig the hole deeper. Financial stress doesn't just empty your bank account, it drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and steals your peace of mind. It's like paying rent in your head month after month with no relief in sight. But it doesn't have to stay this way. Awareness is the first step. Once you understand how this hidden tax affects your mental health, you can start taking back control. Whether that means speaking to a financial counselor, starting a simple budgeting system, or just reaching out for support, every small step helps break the cycle. Now it's your turn. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by money stress? Drop a comment below and let us know. We're building a community here, and your story could help someone else feel less alone. And if you're finding this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because we've got plenty more insights to help you keep your money and your mind in check. Number 9. Out-of-pocket healthcare costs. Australia is known for having one of the best public healthcare systems in the world, but that doesn't mean it's free. In fact, the rising cost of healthcare is one of the most overlooked hidden taxes Australians face today. Let's break it down. While Medicare covers a lot, it doesn't cover everything. Services like dental, physiotherapy, specialist visits, and many prescription medications often come with hefty gap fees, and they're only getting higher. According to recent statistics, Australians are now spending over $30 billion each year in out-of-pocket healthcare expenses. That's an average of $1,200 per person, just to access basic services many assumed were covered. And the shock doesn't stop there. Even bulk billed services are becoming harder to find, especially in rural or low-income areas. Many GPs have started charging gap fees due to rising operational costs. That means even a quick checkup can leave you unexpectedly out of pocket, especially if you need follow-up tests or referrals. Then there's private health insurance, marketed as the solution to long wait times and limited services. But premiums keep rising, exclusions are buried in fine print, and many Aussies find themselves paying for coverage they can't even use when it really counts. What makes this a hidden tax is how unpredictable and unavoidable it can be. You can budget for rent or groceries, but a sudden illness or injury can wipe out your savings in a matter of days. And unlike traditional taxes, these costs feel personal, like you're being punished for getting sick. Healthcare is a necessity, not a luxury. But in Australia today, staying healthy increasingly comes with a silent financial penalty that's leaving more people behind, especially those already doing it tough. Number 8. Hidden government fees. When we think of taxes, we usually imagine income tax or GST, but there's a whole other category of government-imposed costs quietly draining your bank account: hidden fees. These aren't labelled as taxes, but they function the same way, taking your money without much notice. Let's start with something simple. Vehicle registration. Every year, millions of Australians pay hundreds of dollars just to keep their car on the road. Add to that the compulsory third-party insurance, stamp duties, licensing fees, and toll charges. You're suddenly spending over $1,000 a year just for the privilege of driving. And what about council rates and permit fees? Whether you're renovating your home, starting a small business, or just trying to park in your own suburb, there's a form to fill and a fee to pay. Need a green waste bin? That's extra. Want to hold a garage sale or put up a fence? That'll cost you too. These fees often increase quietly year after year with little public discussion or accountability. They're scattered across services and jurisdictions, federal, state, and local, so it's hard to see the full picture. But when you add them up, the total can be staggering. Even basic transactions, like renewing your passport, getting a birth certificate, or paying court fines, come with service charges that feel more like revenue generators than necessary administrative costs. The real problem? These fees are non-negotiable. You can't opt out. And because they're often disguised as administrative or processing costs, most people don't even question them. But make no mistake, they function like a stealthy form of taxation, disproportionately impacting those who can least afford them. In a time when every dollar counts, these hidden government fees are a quiet drain on the everyday Australian. Invisible, unavoidable, and often unfair. Number 7, the lazy tax from not switching providers. There's a silent financial penalty that millions of Australians pay every year, and it's called the lazy tax. It's not an official term, but it perfectly describes what happens when you stick with the same service providers out of habit, comfort, or just not wanting to deal with the hassle of switching. Banks, insurance companies, energy providers, and even phone and internet companies often rely on customers becoming too busy or too overwhelmed to shop around. And as a result, they quietly raise your rates, knowing most people won't notice or won't bother to change. A 2023 report found that Australians are overpaying by up to $1,200 per year simply by not switching providers. That's money that could go straight into your savings, investments, or even a weekend getaway. But instead, it's lining the pockets of companies that reward loyalty with higher prices, not better service. This happens across multiple sectors. Energy companies often give new customers discounted rates, while long-time users stay on outdated, more expensive plans. Banks introduce low-interest savings accounts or credit cards, but only for new applicants. Health and car insurance providers increase premiums annually, assuming you won't notice or won't question it. The term lazy tax makes it sound like it's your fault, but the truth is these systems are designed to discourage switching. They make the process confusing, time-consuming, and filled with fine print. But the cost is real. Over time, even small differences in interest rates, premiums, or fees can add up to thousands of dollars lost for no added value. In the end, the lazy tax isn't about being lazy. It's about being overwhelmed by a system that profits off your inaction. And unless you break the cycle, you'll keep paying for things you shouldn't have to. Number 6, the rent trap. If you're renting in Australia, you're probably feeling the squeeze more than ever. And it's not just inflation. It's what many experts are now calling the rent trap, a situation where rising rental costs eat up such a large portion of your income that it becomes nearly impossible to save, invest, or get ahead. In cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, rent prices have soared by over 30% in just a few years, while wages have barely moved. For many Australians, over 40% of their income now goes straight to rent. That's not just expensive, it's unsustainable. But the real danger lies in what this does to your financial future. When rent takes up most of your paycheck, there's little left for emergency savings, debt repayment, or long-term planning. It keeps people locked in a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck with no way out. You're paying someone else's mortgage while struggling to even imagine affording your own. And as demand increases and vacancy rates drop, landlords hold more power, leading to fewer rights, shorter leases, and higher rent hikes. In many cases, renters are afraid to complain about repairs or rising costs because they fear being evicted or priced out altogether. What makes this a hidden tax is that it's not labelled as one. There's no line item that says poverty penalty or wealth drain, but that's exactly what it is, a constant financial weight that punishes people simply for not owning property. The rent trap is especially hard on young Australians, single parents, and low-income earners, many of whom have no realistic path to home ownership in today's market. And as property prices continue to rise, so does the divide between those who own and those who are stuck renting indefinitely. Number 5. Interest on credit cards and buy now, pay later. At first glance, credit cards and buy now pay later (BNPL) services seem like helpful tools, giving you the flexibility to manage your cash flow, make urgent purchases, or treat yourself before payday. But beneath the convenience lies a financial trap that millions of Australians fall into every year. Let's start with credit cards. The average Aussie credit card balance sits at around $3,000, and with interest rates often between 15% to 22%, that balance can quickly snowball. If you're only making minimum repayments, you could be paying off that $3,000 for years, handing over thousands in interest for something you probably don't even use anymore. Then there's buy now, pay later, the modern, trendier version of lay-by, except this time the item is in your hands before it's paid for. Services like Afterpay, Zip, and Klarna are everywhere now, and while they promise no interest, they come with late fees, account charges, and the temptation to overspend. In fact, studies have shown that people using BNPL platforms often spend up to 30% more than they would with cash or debit. Here's the catch. These platforms encourage impulse buying. You're not thinking about your budget, you're thinking about how easy the payments look. But when you're juggling multiple repayments across different apps and cards, it becomes harder to track your actual debt. Before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle of borrowing to survive, not just to buy. This is what makes interest and BNPL costs a hidden tax. You don't see it coming, and once it hits, it's hard to escape. These systems are designed to feel painless at first, but over time, they quietly erode your financial stability, one small payment at a time. Number 4, the digital convenience premium. In today's fast-paced world, convenience is everything. We tap our phones to pay, order food with a swipe, and stream entertainment on demand. But behind all this ease lies a hidden cost that's draining your wallet more than you realize. It's called the digital convenience premium. Every time you choose the easy option, like ordering food via delivery apps, using Afterpay, or subscribing to yet another streaming service, you're likely paying far more than you would for the traditional alternative. Take food delivery, for example. That $18 takeaway meal can quickly turn into a $35 spend once you factor in delivery fees, service charges, tips, and inflated menu prices. Multiply that by a few nights a week, and suddenly you're spending hundreds extra every month just for the convenience of not cooking. Streaming is another silent culprit. Most Australians subscribe to 3 to 5 streaming services, and with monthly fees averaging $10 to $25 each, you could be paying $100+ a month, often without realizing how rarely you use most of them. And it's not just media. Fitness apps, digital storage, premium email services, and freemium upgrades all slowly stack up, disguised as tiny, harmless costs. Even contactless payment systems like Apple Pay and Google Pay contribute to overspending. Research shows that people tend to spend more when they don't physically handle cash, making it easier to lose track of your spending. The digital convenience premium is a modern-day hidden tax. It trades short-term ease for long-term financial strain. You're not paying for the product, you're paying to avoid friction, and companies know it. That's why they design services to be as seamless as possible, because the smoother the experience, the less you think about the cost. Convenience isn't free, and in the digital age, it might be costing you more than you realize. Number 3, loyalty program traps. We've all been there, standing at the checkout when the cashier asks, "Are you a member of our rewards program?" It sounds like a great deal. Collect points, get discounts, maybe earn a freebie. But what most people don't realize is that loyalty programs are cleverly designed to make you spend more, not save. These programs operate on psychology. By offering you points or rewards, retailers create a sense of progress, as if you're working towards something valuable. But in reality, you're often spending far more than the reward is worth. Research shows that Australians who use loyalty programs tend to spend up to 18% more per visit just to earn points. It's the classic spend more to save illusion. Supermarkets, petrol stations, cafes, airlines, they all do it. For example, you might buy a more expensive item just because it earns double points, or choose one store over another, even if the prices are higher, just to stay loyal. Over time, these small decisions lead to significant overspending. And let's not forget the data collection. Loyalty programs aren't just about rewards, they're about tracking your habits. Retailers use your shopping patterns to target you with personalized offers, nudging you to buy things you didn't plan to. It's not just about getting your business, it's about shaping your behavior. What makes loyalty programs a hidden tax is that they disguise spending as saving. You feel like you're being rewarded, but in most cases, you're paying for those rewards yourself with every extra item in your cart or unnecessary upgrade you're tempted into. They're not evil, but they're not as generous as they seem. And if you're not careful, that free coffee or discount voucher might actually be one of the most expensive rewards you've ever earned. Number 2, the supermarket shrinkflation scam. You walk into the supermarket, grab your usual snacks, cereal, or block of cheese, and head to the checkout without thinking twice. But something's off. The price is the same, but the package feels lighter, the chips bag seems puffier, and that chocolate bar looks just a little thinner. Welcome to the world of shrinkflation, a sneaky pricing tactic that's become one of the most frustrating hidden taxes Australians face today. Shrinkflation happens when companies reduce the size or quantity of a product while keeping the price the same or even increasing it. It's a way of disguising price hikes so you don't notice them at first glance. You're essentially paying more for less, and it's happening across every aisle, from frozen foods and cereals to cleaning supplies and toiletries. In recent years, Australian consumers have seen things like a 250 yuan chocolate block quietly shrink to 200 Gs, or a 500 yuan pasta pack drop to 450 G without any change in price. And because these changes are subtle and rarely announced, most shoppers don't even realize they're being shortchanged. Manufacturers defend shrinkflation by blaming rising production costs, but here's the catch: they rarely increase the size back when costs go down. Once the change is made, it's permanent. That means you're stuck paying more for less every single time you shop. It's especially misleading because packaging is often designed to look the same or even appear bigger, using tricks like inflated bags, deeper lids, or wider boxes. Unless you're checking unit pricing or reading fine print, you might never notice. Shrinkflation isn't just annoying, it's a stealthy form of inflation that quietly eats into your grocery budget, leaving you with lighter bags and heavier bills. It's a scam hidden in plain sight, and it's costing Aussies more than they think. Number 1, the inflation tax. You don't see it on your payslip, and it's never listed on your receipts, but it's there, silently draining your money every single day. It's called the inflation tax, and it's one of the most powerful hidden forces shrinking your wealth without you even noticing. At its core, inflation means rising prices, but the impact goes much deeper than just more expensive groceries. Over the last few years, Australia has experienced some of the highest inflation rates in decades, with the cost of essentials like food, fuel, rent, and electricity rising significantly faster than wages. That means your money is buying less and less, even if you're earning the same amount. Here's the brutal truth: if inflation is at 6% and your salary stays the same, you've effectively taken a 6% pay cut. No one sends you a bill for it, but it's real and it's constant. This is why inflation is often called a hidden tax. It doesn't go to the government directly, but it devalues your income and savings, reducing your purchasing power year after year. That $100 you saved last year, it might only be worth $94 in real terms today. It doesn't stop there. Inflation also hits investments, especially if your money is sitting in a low-interest savings account. Unless your returns are beating inflation, you're actually losing money in slow motion. And while those with assets like property or shares might keep up with inflation, or even benefit from it, everyday Australians who rely on wages, fixed incomes, or cash savings are left falling behind. What makes the inflation tax so dangerous is how invisible and universal it is. You can't opt out, you can't escape it. And unless you actively protect yourself through budgeting, smarter spending, and informed investing, it will quietly erode your financial future. So now you've seen it. 10 hidden taxes quietly draining your wallet every single day in Australia. And no, we're not just talking about what comes out of your paycheck. These are the unseen costs baked into everyday life, from your groceries to your rent, your loyalty points to your streaming habits. They're not labeled as taxes, but they function just like one, chipping away at your income, your savings, and even your peace of mind. What makes them so dangerous is how invisible they are. You don't feel them all at once, but over time, they add up to thousands of dollars lost every year. And the worst part, most of us are paying them without even realizing it. But now that you're aware, you're already ahead. Knowledge is the first step to breaking the cycle. Start questioning those normal expenses. Look at your subscriptions. Rethink your spending habits, because once you start spotting these hidden taxes, you can begin to cut them out one by one and take back control of your money. Remember, it's not about earning more. It's about keeping more of what you already earn. And that starts with seeing what was hidden all along